105.5 FM.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Thursday, SportsBang. Yep, and Blessing and the gang.
Yep.
They're here. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
Blessing.
Chacha. Good
you
morning.
look all excited. Did your team win? I know all of you like to form that you don't have any particular team. That
my
you're,
team
you're,
win.
yes.
My team won 9-0.
You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to go there again. Bless, people are still nursing their hurts. You don't have to do that all the time.
We don't have fans of that team that got dropped for 9 in Nigeria. So I do not really think there's anyone who is, except for the Ote people and the neutrals. That one's probably still pained.
Well, let's look at the historical thing of such a loss.
Yeah.
Has it ever happened between the two teams before?
The particular team,
yes,
or two different teams?
No, this particular teams.
No, between Southampton and Manchester United, no. There's never been a case where United gets to beat Southampton by 9-0. But Southampton has been at the hands of such defeat. Just 16 months ago, they lost to Leicester City 9-0. That was
it's like they have a problem with the number 9.
And I recall Ralph Hasenhuttl, the coach of Southampton, was asked after the game against Manchester United how he feels to lose 9-0, and he said, "I feel superb." Like,
to lose by
9. that was sarcastic. It was saying that sarcasm. Like, why would you ask me that question? Like, apparently it's a good feeling. I mean, why would you be asking me if I feel how I feel?
If you felt that badly about it, how come it's happening again?
You know, sometimes you cannot really control the way things are. Sometimes the opponent could be better than you. But again, the game was
9-0 better than you.
They got 2 red cards. They got 2 red cards on the night. So maybe that might have contributed to the defeat. So their performance generally.
So it's not the coach, it's not the players, it's just circumstances.
I don't think the fans would agree that it's the coach, because many of them still feel like he has done a pretty good job so far. Yeah.
But away from that, it looks like Manchester City are running far ahead of others, yeah?
Yes, indeed they are. And at some point, we felt like we forgot them where they were still down below on the table. And people felt like, okay, maybe City were never going to come back. But look at them, steadily, they were rising. Top of the table, they have still about 2 games in hand. Is it 2 or 1? They have a game in hand right about now.
Wow!
And they are beginning to build the gap on top of the table. And you know, it's very difficult once City gets to the top of the table. Very difficult for them to drop points. And you know, teams like Manchester United and Liverpool can keep trying. I have a United fan here who is.
You've also claimed to be a United fan.
You did.
I did.
But I'm going to leave you guys to do your thing.
Okay, thank you so much, Chacha. Good morning, sports fans. Great to have you join us again on SportsBang this morning. Hopefully we'll have a great time talking sport like we do. Of course, we'll talk about the games played from yesterday. That's in the English Premier League. And of course, we'll have other stories as well from other sports. We're looking at tennis. We're still getting ready for the first Grand Slam of the year. There's been warm-up games here and there. And of course, there's also a scare coming from the world of tennis with COVID-19. We'll talk about that as well this morning. And lots and lots of stories to go around, especially from the MPFL as well. We had games yesterday. Welcome to SportsBang this morning. My name is Blessing fowowe. My friends are here, Ferry Mediboyega and Faith Adide. You heard Faith's voice earlier on, but I'll still bring them on in a moment. But let's start off from tennis this morning. I'll tell you about players who have gone into isolation after hotel coronavirus case. Between 500 and 600 Australian Open players, officials and support staff will go into isolation after a worker, just one person at one of the event's quarantine hotels, tested positive for coronavirus. Now, Thursday's play at the 6 warm-up events in Melbourne Park has been cancelled as a result, but Victoria Premier Daniel Andrews said, and I quote, "At this stage, there is no impact on the tournament proper." So it will go on ahead as planned, despite the fact that about 500 or 6 of them have gone back to isolation there in quarantine. But then they have to return a negative test before they can get back out there to play. And in a Grand Slam first, all courts will feature electronic line calling at the Australian Open with no line judges in an effort to reduce the number of staff on site during the COVID-19 pandemic. Live electronic calling, line calling is delivered through remote tracking cameras around the court, automatically sending the audio lines call in real time. And that's it's coming from the tournament director, Craig Tiley, who is saying that the Australian Open will be the first Grand Slam tournament to introduce live electronic line callings on all courts, just to minimize the contacts that we have at the Grand Slam. And I'm wondering, if you're doing this, why is it that you're still going to have about 30,000 fans to come on. But I'm also looking at it from the point of employment for those line umpires who perhaps would be having their jobs, been replaced by technology at this point. But hey, it's just the update from there. Some games, tune-up games going on. Murray River Open, Nicrios won his game yesterday, but it didn't come without controversy. This man and controversy, they are 5 and 6. They moved together. They stopped play for almost 5 minutes and called the umpires peanuts in the latest chapter of the combustible Australian's on-court antics, just 2 matches into his tour return. The 25-year-old who missed most of the 2020 because of pandemic was unhappy about being given a time violation while serving his Murray River Open match against Harry Brucher yesterday. After being called by the umpire, he looked aghast before walking to his chair and saying, "I'm not playing, sorry mate." And then he said to the umpire, "It's like you are just doing it to be funny. Do you think you are funny?" Of course, Nick Krios, at the end of the day, returned to play, but that was after he was very, very sure that he wasn't going to be fined at any point in that. In the ATP Cup, Germany defeated Canada after Alexander Zverev won his game. Italy and Russia are also moved straight to the semi-finals of that. And Britain's Katie Boulter gave a great account of herself, but could not stop Naomi Osaka from extending her winning streak to 13 matches at the Gippsland Trophy. Osaka sealed victory for 3-6, 6-3, 6-1. And next up for her is Romania's Irina Camelia Begu in the quarterfinals after she upset 5th seed Ioana Konta 4-6, 7-6, 7-6, with the world number 79 pushing the Britain for 3.5 hours. In the Yarra Valley Classic, Australian world number 1 Ashley Barty won her second match of the year to reach the quarterfinals, and after racing through the first set against Mari Bukuza, Barty was taken to a decider before beating the Czech opponent 6-love, 4-6, 6-3. Serena Williams also continued with a very good form as she won 6-1, 6-4 over Svetlana Pironkova. And up next for her is Daniel Collins after the American shocked former world number 1 Karolina Pliskova. That's the update from the world of tennis this morning. And from Formula 1, Roman Grosjean has signed up to compete in the 2021 IndyCar season with Dale Coyne Racing as the former Ace Formula 1 driver gets ready to make his return following his Bahrain Grand Prix accident at the end of last year. Now, Grosjean had spoken of his interest in entering the US-based series after it was confirmed that himself and teammate Kevin Magnussen would be leaving Ace after the 2020 campaign, but a horrific circuit crash in November prematurely ended his F1 career and raised questions about his motorsport future. But somehow, he's found his way back and he will return to racing this season after agreeing a deal with Coyne, which will see him contest all 13 road and street courses, skipping the oval rounds such as the Indianapolis 500. So he's making his return in the IndyCar series and is the first full-time F1 driver to make the switch to IndyCar since Marcus Ericsson in 2019. Allow me bring aboard my friends at this point, Feromi Adeboyega and Faith Adedeji. Good morning, guys. Feromi, how are you doing?
Yeah, good morning to you, Blessing. Good morning to Faith. Good morning to our wonderful listener. Always good to be back again to brighten up your day. I mean, it's been a wonderful 24 hours, and of course, we are here again to actually celebrate what we know how to do best, talking about sports. Started on a very amazing, interesting note, talking about the world of tennis and, of course, our Formula 1. And I can tell you, a lot more still to come in the world of basketball as well. Interesting results coming out right there. And, of course, I think, I'm starting to get worried for Miami Heat at this point in time. Terrible season that they've actually started with. And if care is not taken, if they don't start getting those points, I fear, playoffs might just elude them this time around.
But you've always talked about how playoffs are the most important thing, not exactly how
Yeah,
you do.
definitely. The thing is, you have to qualify first. But the way they are actually doing now, they are like third from bottom at this point in time. They have to make sure they do qualify. At this point in time, if they do not qualify, that's going to be a very, very disastrous season for them. Remember, they got to the finals of the NBA playoffs, just last time out against Lakers right there, and they gave a very wonderful fight. So what has actually gone wrong between that time and this particular point in time? They've had the lowest shooting points in this particular season. Defensively, they've been very terrible. So what has actually changed? It's not as if the big boys left. The likes of Bam, the likes of Jimmy Butler, Kendrick Nunn, these guys are still there. The coach that actually took them to the finals is still very much there. So, what has really happened? So they have to start getting those points as quick as possible, because if they are far behind, it will be difficult for you to actually catch up when it comes to the thick end of that
season.
particular regular season. So that's what I'm saying. You have to qualify first before you start talking about the playoffs.
Maybe this is the case of no two seasons ever being the same, just like no two halves of football game is ever the same. Faith, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Blessing. Good morning, Feromi, and of course to our esteemed listeners, another wonderful Thursday morning. Well, maybe not for everyone, obviously, just like Feromi said. it. But I know a quick admonition to Liverpool fans. Well, whatever broke your heart can also still heal you later on. So I just know that.
Motivation money.
Rema.
But quickly, I know there's so much tennis to go around now. You've talked about tennis, and we're in the season, and maybe a little bit delayed the first Grand Slam of the year. We used to having it in January. Now we're having to wait till February. But I know most importantly, we would be having it. Though I know there are different itches here and there, and it's looking like it is a little bit difficult for us to have the Grand Slam. But we're already having warm-up events here and there, and we're having good performances here and there. And whenever Nick Kyrgios is also in the news, the recalcitrant Nick Kyrgios is always in the news for the wrong reasons. You trust him to always bring maybe the fireworks in a negative way will always make the headlines. Maybe it's his style, I don't know. Maybe it's his nature. All those things come together to affect his wonderful ability. We've always expected Kyrgios to bring the best of tennis, but one way or the other, I find it difficult to step up to the plate. So, well, it's all set up for another interesting edition of SportsBang this morning.
Okay, I'm running straight through to basketball, but this time around, basketball from the Nigerian scene, with the D-Tigers and D-Tigers having known their opponents for the Olympics later in July. And now the Nigerian Basketball Federation has expressed optimism that there is no cause for alarm following the draws that pitted D-Tigers against world number 1 USA, France, and 2020 Olympic host Japan, which many described as the group of death. Now, reacting to draws conducted yesterday, the Federation said it is focused on preparing the teams well for the challenges ahead of their quest to make Nigerians proud. The Federation President, Engineer Musa Kida, said all the 12 teams at the Olympics have a reasonable chance of winning the tournament, hence there are no minnows. Quoting him, nothing good can be handed to you on the platter of gold. You have to work hard and be ready to seize the opportunity when it comes, because to be the best, you have to beat the best. End of quote. He believes a lot can still happen between now and when the game's tip-offs are capable of upsetting bookmakers' predictions and the fate of teams. Well, we hoped on that upset. Really, that's one thing I really hope for, because that group is a very, very tough one. On his part, the head coach of the senior women's team, Otis Hughley, described USA and world number 5 France as familiar foes. He said, and I quote, "We met USA and France at the last World Cup in Spain and again faced USA at the Olympics qualifying tournament in Serbia last year when we qualified for the Olympics." Otis, who led the team to the quarterfinals of the 2018 World Cup, hereby setting an African record before winning the 2019 FIBA AfroBasket Championship, noted that we are mindful of the threat these teams pose to us, including Japan, who are ranked 10th in the FIBA ranking. We are going to prepare adequately to ensure when the time comes, we will be ready. I mean, think of Nigeria and Argentina in the FIFA World Cup. I feel like that's how Nigeria and USA is beginning to feel like in basketball for the women. Hopefully this time around, we will scale this hurdle. Let's move away from that. Talk about athletics for a bit, where two-time 100-meter African champion Seun Ogunkoya says the present crop of the country's sprinters will dominate the African scene. The former Nigerian record holder said the present sprinters had talent but lacked quality training. Quoting her, said, "I was in Akure recently for the recently concluded all-comers meet, and I was surprised by the display of Enoch Adegoke, who won gold in 10.16 seconds. This was a very fast time, a worldly time. It shows that these athletes are introduced to, if these athletes are introduced to more training facilities, they will take the world by storm." And that is, I think, something that we have been hammering on for a bit now. I mean, good training facilities, that's the least you can expect for structure for these athletes to try.
Yeah, definitely. There's only one way to become the best. You need to get everything right. You need to cross your T's. You need to dot your I's, and that is just the most important thing. It's not just about getting the talent. Obviously, that is the first stage. You need to, scout for the talents, get the best of talents on board, and then you have to nurture them into becoming the great stars. And then when they become great stars as well, you need to continue to give them fantastic training facilities here and there. Maybe we don't have that. We used to have some of our athletes, most of our biggest athletes, get to train outside the shores of the country and all that. Some of them on their own terms, based on their own resources and all that. But I know it's good that he's talking about it right now. Seun Ogunkoya, obviously a cousin to the legendary Falilat Ogunkoya. Maybe for those who don't know so much about him, he has also made his name in the world of athletics generally. So when our legends are talking, when people that have been there, done that are talking, then we should listen to them. and we should take the necessary corrections and make all the necessary, those necessary things we need to do at this point in time. So, we have Raymond Ekewo, we have so many of them doing well, and then those ones coming through the ranks as well. We should help them to get soft landing into becoming some of the best. And athletics being one of our strong holds whenever we go into the world, onto the world scene on some of those big tournament. So I'm very happy that you have talked about it right now.
Yeah, definitely. And just to add to that, I think, in addition to the facilities and everything, I think quality coaches also is very, very needed because, at one point, if you have the facilities and you don't have someone that knows the technical know-how, you might actually get affected when you get to competition. So I think, it's just to urge those people that are actually training them, don't wait for government to do everything for you. Go for coaching courses that will definitely develop you, that will definitely improve your skills to help this athlete, because it really, really matters on the long run.
Okay, urging the coaches to get personal training and development. Still on athletics, I recall on Saturday we talked a bit about athletics, talked a bit about the all-comers in our career, but this Saturday we'll be interviewing somebody who is, in the thick of things when it comes to athletics in Nigeria. We'll be talking all things athletics, past and present, and the way forward for us at this point. But now we move it to football, where no fewer than 5 top Super Falcons players may miss this month's invitational tournament in Turkey and the 2-match tour of Morocco due to club engagements. The 2021 Turkey Women's Cup is scheduled to be held from February 15 to 25th in Antalya, while the 2-match tour of Morocco will be held later in the month. The games are expected to help the reigning African Women's Cup of Nations champions prepare well for the 2022 AFCON, where they will seek to qualify for the 2023 Women's World Cup. Now, the players who may miss out of the tournament approved by the Nigeria Football Federation last December are Barcelona lady striker Asisat Oshoala, Rashidat Ajibade, Adule Charity, Tochukwu Ulwei, and Chiamaka Nadozie. Of course, all of this is due to club engagement. The Falcons have not played a game since they were eliminated from the Olympic Games qualifiers by Ivory Coast in October 2019 at the Agege Stadium there in Lagos. In the NPFL, former champions Enyimba International stunned high-flying Nasarawa United in Lagos to temporarily go top of the table on the day Abia Warriors got its first win of the season. And for record league winners, Enyimba, they earned their second away win of the season, edging in from Nasarawa United 2-1 at the Lafia City Stadium. Their goals were scored by Abubakar Abdullahi and Ongu, and later on by Cyril Osema in the 32nd minute, and Chinedu Onachum scored for Nasarawa United. In the Lorin, Kwara United moved into top 3 of the MPFL table after beating Lobby Stars 2-1 at the Kwara Sports Stadium. In Kaduna, Kano Pillars returned to winning ways after defeating Jigawa Golden Stars 2-1 at the Amadou Bello Stadium. A first-half brace from the Cameroon international Wengi Kediang was enough for the Sai Masugida to earn all 3 points. Enugu Rangers also returned to winning ways after brushing aside Akada FC at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. Akwa United recorded its first away win of the season and also its first consecutive wins of the season after a 1-0 victory over Adamawa United. In Bauchi, Wiki Torres defeated MFM FC 2-0 with goals from Promise Damala and Chinedu Diaga. That win lifts Wiki to 11th on the log. Warri Wolves are out of relegation zone, at least for the next 24 hours, after a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Plateau United at the Delta State Polytechnic Ozoro there. And in Okigwe, there were emotional scenes at the bench of Abia Warriors after they beat Sunshine Stars 4-1 in what was the first win of the season. Abia Warriors goals were scored by Fatai Abdullahi, Emmanuel Uguka, and a brace from substitute Bello Lukman, while Sadiq Yusuf scored the consolation goal for Sunshine Stars. I can imagine the happiness on the faces of everyone at the bench, especially for Imama Mapakapo. This man, he has the armor dangling over his head, and he needed a win so bad. He got it yesterday, and it was his first for the season. Match day 8 continues today with 2 matches. Rivers United will be visiting Katsina United, knowing that a win will return them to the top of the table, while the second match is in an Oriental derby between Heartland FC and FC Fayumba, which will be live on MPFL TV. Yesterday on Just Football, the guys were hoping for a away win, and at the end of the day, it came from 2 different scenes, away in Nasarawa and away at Adamawa United. In the English Premier League, Manchester City kept their hold on top of the table alive. 2-0, they won again away to Burnley. Leicester City won 2-0 away to Fulham. Leeds lost to Everton at home 2-1, and West Ham went away to Aston Villa to pump them 3-1. Jesse Lingard, maybe he's back in form. It's got 2 goals. J-Links. And the most surprising result of the night for me, Liverpool falling at home to Brighton Hove and Albion at Anfield. And Brighton boss Graham Potter praised the side's courage and quality and togetherness as they stunned Liverpool at Anfield to move 10 points clear of the Premier League relegation zone. And Jurgen Klopp, on the other hand, blamed mental fatigue for the defeat. And later today, we'll see Tottenham host Chelsea. This is the BBC Premier League update. To return, the guys drop one or two thoughts about the games played from last night in the English Premier League. Still with us.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Paul Serres at the BBC Sports Centre. Manchester City have moved 3 points clear at the top of the Premier League after beating Burnley 2-0 at Turf Moor. Manager Pep Guardiola said the early goal was important against a well-organised Burnley side.
It was so important, but in the same time, so still 87 minutes left to play, so many things can happen. And that's why we're continuing to focus. We struggle a little bit to break the first, line. But once we got it, we did it well.
Burnley boss Sean Dyche was disappointed at conceding the early goal, but felt his side recovered well.
You know, it's the realities of the division. You play against the top sides, and when they deliver a top performance, which I wouldn't say they were top of their game, but they were very good, I thought. They controlled lots of parts of the game. We give them an easy start, which is, it's not like us. But I thought the lads handled the second half well.
Leicester City remain in the Champions League places after winning 2-0 at Fulham. Cottagers boss Scott Parker wasn't surprised with the gulf in quality between the sides.
Am I surprised in the certain elements what we've fallen short on? No. We're a team that have come out of the Championship playing against a team that are, I don't know where they were, maybe you could, what are they, third now, second in the league? Yeah. Third in the Premier League, with an array of talent what they've got. And in games like this, you're going to fall a little bit short when you're up.
In the day's other matches, champions Liverpool missed the chance to close the gap on second-place Manchester United, going down to a 1-0 defeat at home against struggling Brighton. Loney Jesse Lingard scored twice to help West Ham to a 3-1 win at Aston Villa, and it finished Leeds 1, Everton 2 at Elland Road. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Okay, we have to leave on the show this morning. Barcelona also had a comeback victory over Granada in the Copa del Rey. I mean, at 2-0, I was wondering what's going to happen. But hey, they found a way back through that one and they made it through to the next round. In the Coppa Italia, Napoli played a goalless draw with Atalanta. Guys, your parting shot.
Well, definitely I'll be looking out for the big game later today between Spurs and Chelsea. The first time ever that Thomas Tuchel and Jose Mourinho will be facing off against themselves. And maybe you expect fireworks, but for the moment now, Spurs have been in a terrible run of form. They've not been in their best, the best of our best. But Mourinho will want to get a result in that game. He has not won in his last 6 meetings against Chelsea, and that is looking like a bad run. He needs to correct as quickly as possible.
Yeah, for me, I think, it will be coming from Manchester City. They've actually won their last 13 games in all competitions, and they have the best defensive record in the Premier League. I mean, can we say that Ruben Diaz is actually the best defender at this point in time?
Big question.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about that on Saturday. Thanks for being a part of SportsBang this morning. We're back here tomorrow at 7:30. Winning Friday edition. Win something for the weekend. My name is Blessing fowowe, and I've worked with Fermi Adeboyega and Faith Adediji. Have a great Thursday. Au revoir.
Here is